Okay, so while I'm waiting to figure out and deal with what I have to do for the Iron Duke for the S10, I got a couple other engines here that we can go ahead and get some stuff done on. So I'm going to see what we can get accomplished with Mark's 360 for the 1968 Dodge Dart. Okay, so engines are starting to stack up around here. I got a 440, I got a 2.5, got a 360, got a 3.6 GM. So it's time I start getting some of this stuff together and get it the hell out of here. So we're going to work on the 360. Of course, it came back from the machine shop. It's still standard. The crank is still standard on both mains and connecting rods. So we're going to start getting it back together here. So what I've already done today is, so this engine is, I think, an 89 or 91, or I don't know. They're the same from 88 to 91 anyway. So I dug out an 89 truck manual because it would have the 360, because they were only in trucks and B vans at that point. And I photocopied what I need anyway. So these are all the specifications, of course. So what I did was I went here for air journals and I measured, and I mean, Matt at the machine shop already told me everything was still well within spec, but I get this thing about trusting people, so I went ahead and took the micrometers and checked myself, and we are in fact within spec, so that's a good sign. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to give the block a wipe down. I already gave the crank a wipe down, and we're going to lay the bearings in, and I've got some more measurements to take here. Okay, so we're upside down. What I've already done is I've taken and blown out all of the oil galleries here, and the rest of the block too, just to make sure there's nothing in it. Next thing we're going to do is take off all the main caps, and we can lay our bearings in dry, because what we're going to do is lay our crank in. Okay, so like I said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to Plasti-gauge it, but first thing you want to notice here when you check your bearings, and hopefully the camera will focus, you're looking for it to say standard. Because in the past I've purchased engine bearings and I've had it where I've opened the box and there's been one undersized bearing. So keep that in mind. Now the one with the oil hole lines up with the oil hole in the block. So you're going to take it and line your notch up. And we're going to put the whole set in here. So now we can set our crankshaft in. Okay, then we can put our caps on again with bearings. So at this point what I've done is, you can see I've laid the Plasti-gauge on top of the crank, and we'll go ahead and we'll put the caps on now, and then we'll torque them. So one of the things that Chrysler specifies in the manual is that the threads are to be lightly oiled prior to torquing, and they're to be torqued to 85 foot-pounds. Now what they don't give you is a sequence of torque. So what I'll do is I will work from the center out. we'll check our clearance. Snug some of these up and then I'll grab the torque wrench. Okay. Okay. Okay, now we can take all the caps off again. So it looks like we are probably about 2 thousandths, give or take. Let's check another one here. Yeah, this one's about 2 thousandths as well. Oops, I'll get my thumb out of the way. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've put the rear main seal in, and you'll notice it's sticking up. That's on purpose. The way I was taught is you always offset them so that the sealing edge is not where it seals against the block. I've lubricated all of the lower half of our bearings, so we can go ahead and drop the crank in, figuratively of course. So with the crank in place, we'll go ahead and lubricate the rest of our caps with a bit of the assembly lube, and I'll show you how I offset the rear main seals so they don't leak. Okay, the rear main seal. So what I do is, see how it's offset so that one end's poking? It's so that the seam of the seal is below the cap. And then your wide end of the seal, which hopefully the camera will focus for us here, goes towards the front of the engine. Okay, now we torque it again.